on the back side where you've written your notes and where you've got your colored pencil color wheel, first thing I want you to take a look at underneath the color schemes is going to be complementary. So remember, complementary are going to be any two colors that are directly across from one another on the color wheel. Red and green, blue and orange, yellow and violet. Those are typically the pair that most people gravitate towards first. But don't forget, you've also got your tertiary or your intermediate. You've got red, orange, blue, green, red, violet, yellow, green, blue, violet, yellow, orange. Lots of really, really, really good pairs. Now, the reason that I bring up complementary color is because you're going to start taking a look at your Picasso 9-box illustration. On the back side, I've already posted on the Google Classroom how I want you to kind of lay this out. But when you look at the layout on the back, we've got complementary corner boxes 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I've got complementary corner box 1, 2, 3, 4. If you want to label them on the front side, you can, but as long as you have this little grid layout on the back, that's going to suffice. That's going to be plenty enough. Now, the reason that we've got them labeled on the back side here is because you need to take a look at your painted color wheel and you need to choose 4 different pair of complementary colors. So by 4 different pair, I mean you could go with kind of a simple straight out of the box. For the first pair, you could use something like red and green. You could use something like blue and orange. You could use yellow and violet, but you're gonna need to have 4 different pairs. So you don't wanna reuse anything. On this example, I shaded with blue, green, and red, orange. And I've got blue and orange for my second. I've got red and green for my third. And I've got, yellow, green, and red, violet for my fourth. So I've got 4 different complementary color pairs for mine. On the back with pencil, looking at my color wheel, I'm gonna write down the 4 pair that I choose to use. I don't want you to use the same 4 pair as me, but if you want to use some, that's all right. My go-to is always blue, green, and red, orange. For some reason, I just really, 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 really like the way that those two look together. So I'm gonna write down blue dash green and red dash orange. Okay, so we're gonna fast forward. We're gonna pretend that you've picked all 4, starting with the first one. Since I chose blue, green, and red, orange, I'm gonna flip this over. This is gonna be my box number 1. Now, what I need to do from the colored pencils that I have, I need to find all of the colors that are gonna help me make blue, green, and red, orange. So I've got my red, I've got my orange, I've got my blue, I've got my green. So I'm gonna end up using 4 different colors for this. Now, if you've got one of the colored pencil boxes that has like a blue-green color in there and it looks blue-green to you, you can use it, that's completely fine. But the kicker with all of this, as you shade, and I'm gonna post some really, really well done practice samples of these on our Google Classroom, one of the more crucial parts of this project is that you are learning how to properly shade to show value. And when I say value, value doesn't have to do with the price of anything. Value has to do with the range of light to dark that's visible within each of those colors. So if you look at this one, this blue, violet, and yellow, orange box is really, really well done. You can see a good value change. We've got dark blue violets here, medium blue violets, some really light blue violets, same with the yellow orange. And that continues kind of idea-wise the same in every box. So here's the completed sample of that. You can see a wide range of value in all of these. So as you shade, that's one thing to look at. So to start, I've got my 4 colors. I'm gonna look to see where I might wanna do my red orange first, and I could place this anywhere within this box. It's kind of a fancy coloring book page if you want to think of it like that. But when you shade, keep the same ideas and keep the same process as how you shaded this. So when you do the tertiaries, you want to layer your 2 colored pencils. So I'm going to layer using my red and my orange. I'm actually going to do the background for this one. So I'm going to shade with a little bit of red first. I'm going to go darker right around the outline of the head. So to go darker, I'm pressing just a little bit harder. To go lighter, I'm easing off that pressure a little bit at a time. And I'm not going to shade the whole background yet. I'm just going to do a small portion of it. That way I can see, after I add my orange, I can really get a better idea as to what this is going to end up looking like. So I've got kind of a lighter version of red down, although it's a little darker around the outline of the head. That's because I'm going to want it to look like it's maybe casting a shadow, or that it has kind of a darker outline. Okay, now I've got my orange. I'm going to go right back over the top of everything that I just shaded. Pressing a little bit harder this time around, helping those 2 colors to blend themselves together, easing off of that pressure. Now you can start to see that it's building just a little bit. Now I'll go back over the top of my red, final layer, a little more pressure, really guiding. I'm pushing this pencil further and further and further out from where I began. Now, if I like it, I'm going to continue adding the rest of this to the background. Doing the same thing. I'm going to shade that whole background in nice and light. Light, light, light with my red, because again, I'm doing red-orange. And kind of like how I darkened it around the outline of the head, I'm going to do the same thing around these little streaks that are in the background. So I'm going to go a little bit heavier. Do the same thing here, a little bit heavier with that red, a little bit heavier, a little bit heavier. Then, grab my orange, go right back over the top. Nice and light over everything. That way it's a true red-orange. You know, you don't want to just shade lightly with one color and neglect doing that second color over the top. And really push yourself to show some value. I know that shading with colored pencil for some might be a brand new concept, which if it is, you know, if you're really uncomfortable with this process, maybe on the back side, use some of this blank space to do a little practice shading. But I've got my 2 layers here. I'm going to go back over, third and final. Press a little bit harder in those areas that I want darker, ease off my pressure into the areas that I want medium, so I can really show that value change, light to medium to dark, light to medium to dark. So now, done with my red-orange. I've got a good range of value. I've utilized the space fully and completely. Now, to the inside of the hair, I'm gonna do the blue-green. For this, I am gonna shade this whole portion in lightly with my blue first before I really pick and choose where I want to darken it. So I've got my blue. And again, you know, if the colored pencils that you have, if it doesn't say blue on it, maybe it says navy, or maybe it says cobalt, or it says like blue violet. As long as when you shade it on the surface of the paper, as long as to you it looks blue, That's good enough for me. Now, when you go to mix colors, you can use those same colors, but really, really, really be sure that it looks very similar to the, if you're doing blue-violet, you want blue-violet to look blue-violet. So always be kind of comparing and contrasting what you've got here. I mean, I could do a direct layover of my red-orange that I colored with a colored pencil. I can see how it's fairly similar to the tint. I can see where it's fairly similar to the hue. Not too similar to the shade because I didn't add any black to this, but you can see where it's a little darker in spots. So I've got my blue in here. Before I do the green, I'm gonna pick and choose where I wanna add some darker portions of this. So very similarly to the way that I did the background around these streaks, I'm gonna do something similar here. Going a little bit heavier around some of these outlines of the hair. Do a little bit of this up and over the ear. And I left the top of the earlobe blank because I'm gonna go back in and do that red-orange. So a little bit deeper there, a little bit heavier. Do the same back over here. And in just a few other little spots. Okay, so I've got it set up so that as I'm layering with my green and then my final layer with my blue, it's really gonna help to enhance those values. So I'll go back in, shade over the top of everything with my green, go a little bit heavier where I want it to be darker. Man, I tell you what, you just cannot go wrong with blue, green, and red, orange. They always just vibrate off of one another so well. But then again, you get that same kind of result with just about any pair of complementary colors. So pressing a little bit harder over the spots that I've decided I want to have darker. Really build in that deeper value. And then one final. Good range of value. Fading gradually. You want to avoid getting too kind of tiger scratch streaky. And all I mean by that is if your shading looks really, really linear like this, be sure that you try some techniques like maybe going opposite direction to help blend. But you want to avoid the streakiness as much as you can. All right, I'm going to finish building this blue in over the top. Good range of value. And then I'm going to do the earlobe. We've got red, orange. I'm going to do maybe a medium dark for this. So I've got red. And I'm going to layer the orange. And then one last with that red. A little darker in that corner, fading itself out further as it goes to the left. So there we go. Good range of value. We've got dark right against the back side of the head, fades itself out, but I've got some darker values in here for the background lines. Same idea with the hair. Shaded the whole thing in nice and light with my blue first. Then I pinpointed the areas that I wanted to have look a little bit darker. Filled those in, shaded those in a little bit deeper, went back, did all of my layering, and bada boom, bada bing. So for today, the only thing that I would look at is just the 4 complementary color boxes, the corner boxes. Each box needs to be, and I can't stress this enough, each box really truly needs to be a different pair of complementary colors. Please don't reuse. And by reuse, I mean in the rest of my 3, I'm not, in number 2, 3, or 4, I'm not gonna reuse blue, green, and red, orange. Write the color choices down on the back side, and if you maybe want me to double check them before you begin. That way you just know for sure that you're accurate. Send me an email, take a picture of the back side of this, send it to me. I'll take a look at it and give you the thumbs up. Or if it's wrong, I can help you correct it over the internet, over the email. All right, later, skater.